Tom Vickers on Instagram saying, how will you tackle knife crime in London? And Tom, it's a great question. It's a complex question, but it's one that must be addressed. Again, I find it very curious that your mayor of London, your current mayor, hasn't said one thing about knife crime. As he campaigns to be your leader for the next 3 years, he hasn't addressed the fact that 100 teenagers have been murdered on his watch. The solutions for knife crime are complex, but I know what they are. And it actually has two parts. The first is we've got to support the police. We've got to put more police on the street. They have to be better trained. And they have to have more digitization, which means they can fight this crime better. But the solution doesn't only lie with the police. And I've had senior members of the police force that said, Brian, you have to do other things. You can't just police your way out of this problem. And they're right. You have to support the communities. And you've got to give these teenagers other things to do in the communities between those hours of 3:30 p.m. to 8:30 p.m. That's when school is let out to where mom and dad comes home. When you give them something to do in those 5 hours, they can be productive members of the community. They could start businesses. They could be part of my Get London Back to Work plan. Or they could find other things to do that aren't always productive. They can get involved in gang culture or get involved in crimes and burglaries, and we need to give them solutions out of that. And that's why I have a plan to invest in the communities here in London. I want to invest in or rebuild 250 community centers throughout the 32 boroughs in London, and I'm going to do that with corporate investments. And you might say, well, Brian, how are you going to get money out of an Amazon, an Uber, a Barclays, an HSBC, a Google, or a Wellcome Trust? Well, actually, it's already been done. And our good friend Jamal Edwards, who's an MBE and the founder of SBTV, which is an incredible, hip hop, music, and fashion show he hosted on YouTube and all sorts of other social platforms that he built from nothing. Came from, a tough neighborhood and built this company up from scratch. Jamal already secured hundreds of thousands of pounds from companies like Google and the Wellcome Trust to support some of his own youth clubs in Acton, including Friary Park, and some of the ones that taught him the basics of music. So I love Jamal's model, and I look forward to working with Jamal to set up more of these at scale. And I'd like to raise 100 million pounds from the corporations here in London to build and rebuild those 250 community centers. That's 400,000 pounds each. That's enough to get the youth workers back in those centers that the current mayor of London got rid of, to refund these community centers, which the current mayor shut down. And I'm the kind of guy that can get on the phone with these corporations, and I know how to get deals done. And trust me, there's ways to get these corporations to do it. There's win-win for everybody. They get incredible branding, they support the communities get great assets and great money to take themselves to the next level. That's how we actually make a dent on knife crime. And enough talk, let's actually do something. So it's a great question.